All right. Hey, welcome, Lewis and Altura track fans. We're here today with Coach Oevering. Coach Overing's our throwing coach and has been for quite some time. Coach, how's it going today?
Real good, real good.
Good,
Thank you.
good. Well, hey, we're asking about just some track and field questions for you. Just kind of getting us thinking about it, since it's been a few weeks now since we've been able to go over there. If you could kind of walk us through what was your track and field experience growing up, kind of what stuck out to you and why you're sticking around it to this day.
Okay. Well, I was from Winona, and they didn't really have a junior high track program, so we started in ninth. I started in ninth grade, and what got me interested in is working out in the weight room as a freshman, and the weight room coach, kind of like Mr. Justman, if you will, suggested that I try throwing shot put. I wasn't a big runner, so he suggested I try the shot put and discus. And I did that in ninth grade and enjoyed it and understood that I could take advantage of my strengths by throwing heavy things. And that's kind of how it all started.
Who is your coach down at Winona?
The throwing coach was Larry Moore, who was ex-Packer punter. For you Green Bay fans, he used to be a Green Bay Packer punter. So that leads me to one of my favorite workouts. I was a punter also in high school, even though I was the biggest kid on the team. I also was a punter. So some of my favorite workouts were him and I working on punting rather than throwing shot and discus.
Good stuff. So
that was just, we had three circles and we had, probably 10, 12 throwers. So there was obviously some downtime. So him and I would be working on punting, or he'd show me how to drop it and how to point my toe and just the fundamentals of it. And a friend and I would basically kick to each other while we were waiting to throw our turn. So,
and that's one of the beauties of track and field is it's not the sport is not, scheduled out each minute like a football or basketball or volleyball practice might be. You have a little bit more time to focus individually and to have some fun with your buddies there too while you're at it.
Yep.
You remember?
So that was 1984 is when I started.
Okay.
I was a freshman, and then my freshman year I only threw it about 36 feet, which wasn't the greatest. Then as a sophomore, I lifted weights and went through that, and I threw about 45 as a sophomore, 50 as a junior, and as a senior, my PR was 54.8, and that was in the discus. I really didn't throw in ninth grade at all. I didn't start that till 10th grade, and I was a spinner and output, so the discus transition wasn't as hard as far as the spin goes. The release was the biggest hurdle that I had. So once I figured the release out, I made some pretty good strides in the discus, and 172.6 was my discus PR as a senior.
And you had some really talented teammates there with you too, right? That you were kind of going back and forth with all the time.
Yes, that's one of the interesting things is we had 350 plus footers, all as juniors or seniors. So my senior year in the Big Nine, for triangular meets, you could only throw two varsity throwers, then you would have a JV portion. So the top two throwers would throw, and then JV would throw in another one and not be scored. And what happened is every triangular meet, whoever had the lowest score would throw JV the following meet. Well, the JV thrower won the whole meet every time because you would work harder. You didn't want to throw JV two meets in a row. You would hit the weight room hard. You would work technique hard. And part of it was, yes, we were good friends, but it was a little snarly at times as well. Like, I'm not going to be beat by these two again next week. So it was great internal competition. Discus wasn't as such. We had two good discus throwers. We were both in the 160s to 180s. So discus, it was pretty much us two all year, but shot put was definitely a high level comp.
Yeah, no kidding.
So,
No kidding.
Yeah.
Hey, so you're obviously involved in a lot of different sports. In your mind, what makes coaching track different than basketball, football, baseball? What's unique about it to you?
Well, to me, it's the all shapes and sizes.
Mm-hmm.
One of the 50 footers we had was 5'10" and 230, but he had thighs like Earl Campbell. So, and he was a technician on the glide. So, yeah, he didn't have the brute strength that I had, but his technique was excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Then we had a 6'4.5" Joel Stats, who played middle linebacker at the Gophers from 88 through 92. He was the starting middle linebacker. He was a glider, but he was 6'4" and probably 240. So, and then there was me, who was 6'2" and 315, and I was a spinner. So the fact that it's all shapes and sizes, whether you're, 5'6" or you're 6'4", there's different techniques that can be used, and that's what I like about track is coaching multiple different shapes and styles. Some kids are going to be spinners. I look at the bigger, stockier kids, heavier kids that maybe can't get out on that knee on the glide like Cole Munt, so then they're going to be a spinner, because it's a lot of weight to move off of one leg to get that momentum to the front of the circle. So it's just the body styles, and then you look at a Hamza from last year, and how the technique differed from when he was a sophomore and junior to his senior year, when we made some tweaks and changed his discus style a little bit for him to have his most successful throw of his career at True Team when we needed it.
Mm-hmm. No, I was going to say that's the same for me too. It's nice to see anybody can be successful in track, because we got all kinds of different events, and we can find a spot that you can succeed in, and that's for sure.
Yep.
Any memories recently as a coach that stand out to you that
Well, I mentioned Hamza last year at True Team. The look on his face when he threw the best throw of his career, and him coming up and thinking that, I could have threw it harder. When it was the best throw he's had in his career, and not to mention it moved him in the top 10 in True Team, which was a great accomplishment, and it paid off in all the hard work that he put into track and into his discus. And so that's one of the moments I remember. That moment is, seeing the look on his face of excitement, his teammates being excited, Jacob Stokes from St. Charles being excited, kids that he knows and that threw against him all the time were very excited for him. And to me, that solidified the year right there.
Oh, yeah. And another great thing about track is you can have a moment like that where it's so personal, and it's not about, hey, I'm the best one at the end. It's just, no, that's the best I've ever done. And that means a lot to me, kind of thing. So yeah, no, that's one thing that makes it cool. Hey, so we're obviously in kind of a weird situation right now where we can't really have a lot of conversations with kids, and we can't kind of have that team culture that I think track lends itself to. You'd mentioned before, just, hey, when it's not my turn, I'm going to be punting footballs with my buddies. I mean, that's just kind of the track culture that comes along with it. Any words of advice or wisdom or things to say to those track athletes right now that aren't coming to practice every day?
Biggest thing is find something to do active wise. If you don't have weights available, push-ups, sit-ups, jumping, plyometrics, going for a walk, going for a jog, just something to keep your mind away from, oh, I got a 2-hour paper I got to write,
Mm-hmm.
or, get your work done at school during the day. And then in the afternoon, if you have time, get out and do something outdoors, go on a hike, go on a run, just run around the yard. In our family, we're on workout day number 4 currently.
Okay.
We're lifting on Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays, and we're doing cardio on Saturday, Mondays, and Wednesdays.
Okay.
And
All right.
with Fridays off. So, and that includes me and my wife and Ben and Levi and Olivia. So we have a 300-pound free weight set in the garage.
Okay.
With a bench and a leg extensions and leg curls and lat pull downs. And so I made up a workout for everybody just to for the ones that don't have Justin's workout,
Mm-hmm.
just to kind of stay active. And, we went on for a walk down at Farmers Park. Just try to stay active, try to keep your mind off things. It's amazing. My wife commented, she goes, the kids sure were different during the weight room session. They were supportive of each other. They were supportive of everybody. And she says, is that always how it is in the weight room? And I'm like, well, yeah, because everybody's in there for a common goal,
Mm-hmm.
and that's to get stronger. So even though you've never been a weightlifter, the fact that you're out there working with them, they appreciated that and were positive towards you in doing that. So it's really, as far as our family goes, it's obvious with 3 siblings, there's always rivalries and stuff around the house. But once we got into the garage, it was full on support of everyone, and that was fun to see.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and I agree. Having, 2 things there, being active and then kind of keeping some kind of a routine still is big, because it's easy for the days just to kind of all blur together and not having a lot of separation in there. So, no, well, hey, thanks, Coach Overing. Any other last minute things you'd like to share?
Nope, just like everybody's saying, keep washing your hands and keep the social distancing, and hopefully we'll get out of this and have a future in the schools, whether it be at the end of May, middle of May, and into the summer activities and into the fall, and get back to some state of normalcy for everyone.
Agreed. I definitely need some of that soon.
All right.
Well, hey, thanks, Coach.
Thank you.